Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Help Talk. It's been a while. We've had the summer off and we hope everybody's had a really good time and a good summer. But that school year is back. It's time for me, your host, Dr. LL, and my co-host, Phil Vitrano, who's also the co-founder of Helpopedia, where we are focused on youth development and helping youth navigate all that uncertainty and chaos out there at that age and stage that folks are in their lives. And with us today, we've got a wonderful guest over here, Laurie Genevish, founder of My Ideal College. Hi, Laurie. Welcome to the show.
Hey, good to see you both again.
Oh, it's always exciting. We like to hear about what's going on. So let's paint the picture before we get into the 7 ways to help your teen find their path. Talk about what's going on. And we know that you're down there in Georgia, but if you can talk to us about what's going on there first and maybe give us some insights to what's going on bigger picture nationwide, I think that would really help us set the context.
Yeah, well, I think in a good way, a lot of parents are rethinking about how do we navigate this process, to help our teen after high school. Because it is getting expensive and they don't want to go into debt for it. And bottom line, that the parents just want their teens to be happy, fulfilled, and such. And so, as I mentioned to you before, I'm starting to see a little bit now here in Georgia. We have a lot of great schools, and you get the Hope Scholarship, which you basically get college almost for free. But teens are going, I think I want to go in another state. And the parents are like, okay, I can't afford another state probably. So why wouldn't you, stay in Georgia? So it's rethinking all of that. And I think the biggest thing I really had I've even still to this day, I have a lot of parents of seniors coming to me now with wow, this is so different than we went through it. And it is a completely different landscape of figuring it out.
Is Georgia one of those states that allows for it so that if you go into a college, a junior college, and you take an associate's degree and get 2 years in a certificate in whatever lane that you're in, that you can use those 2 years that you put in for a university level? Is that something that's offered in Georgia?
Absolutely. And a lot of times parents are doing that to help save money. As well, or it's also another what's the word I'm working with, soft into it, before going into a full-blown college. It's a way to sort of slowly guide them in and see if they're really ready.
I think it's good. Another thing we did with my stepkids, we had them take summer classes and during the Christmas holidays, take classes at the local community college so that they could start to chip away at the years that they'd have in university.
Right.
Not only was it more affordable that way, it just allowed them to stretch it out a little bit and just have that little bit of space that they needed. I think it worked really well.
Yeah, absolutely. And we do here in Georgia, we have dual enrollment. So if it's right for the teen, some of them will start taking college classes before even going in, after before graduating high school. And if it's right, as the teen needs to take initiative. I mean, once they're in college, parents don't, and even though they're still in high school, they're taking a college class. So the parent can't be like, well, let me go in and check their grades. Let me do,
Or let me help you. Let me open up the Gen AI tool and we'll just get the answers there and get it done and submit it, right? No, none of that.
I have friends who are college professors and they're like, Laurie, you'd be shocked about how many parents come to us about their kid. And I'm like, wow.
Well, they say 1 in 5 Gen Z right now, and this is aged 15 to about 30, 31-ish, are showing up at interviews with a parent or caregiver. So that's not a small number.
No, and I'm glad my 2 boys would not even think to ask me to do that.
Thank goodness, right? Well, let's get into it, Laurie. Let's hear what you've got to say here to help guide parents so that they can help their teens find their path.
Yeah. So I think the biggest thing, a lot of times parents are like, oh, I want them to have the college experience like I did. I just want them to have that experience. And that's great. But, the kind of experience they want, the kind of experience you had may be completely different. What you got to really focus on what's right for the teen. And so the first thing I'm big on begin with the end in mind. We've been told, we go to elementary school, then we go to middle school, we go to high school, and it's all very prescribed, right? But then it's like the world's your oyster. You can choose whatever you want. But, what you do after high school should be preparing you for that first right first career for you. So whether it be in a trade or college or certification, what's right for them. So you want to talk to your teens about how do they envision their life in their 20s, right? What kind of values do they want to have? If they could just dream, right? Close their eyes. And it's like, what kind of job do they see themselves in? Do they see themselves outside a lot? Do they see themselves in an office? Do they see them being a decision maker? Do they see themselves in front of a computer? Do they want to travel a lot? To help them start thinking about what they want to do. And like, I'm assuming every teen is going to say, well, I want to move away from home, right? Well, when do you want to move out by? And where do you see yourself living and such? Asking a question like, what does a good day at work look like? And they may not have all the answers, but it gets them to start, it wiggles their brain, right? To start thinking. And of course, now you don't want to have these conversations like, okay, we got to sit down and talk all about this. You could weave these into conversations as you naturally do things and follow up with what they say about it. Are good starting points, because that's going to help lead into what are some of the right jobs for them.
Do you ever get the answer, and how do you overcome it when you ask a teen and they say, yeah, I want to be a YouTuber. I want to be an influencer. That's what I really want. Because apparently that's the number one career goal. And not everybody gets to be an influencer. We can't all be instant famous and be making gobs of money, right? Wads of cash. Our influence. So how do you advise folks? What do you say?
Well, luckily I used to hear that a lot. I'm not hearing that as much. But I do tell them, I'm like, great, let's find you a YouTuber to talk to and find out what does it really take to do that. It's not overnight successes, right? There's a lot of work. It's not, hey, let me get my video up and just start and people will listen to me. And also too, I think, keep in mind, you do one wrong thing and bam, you're gone.
Cancel culture is live and well. Yeah, right?
The one thing I am hearing more, which I fully understand, is entrepreneurship. A lot of teens want to do entrepreneurship now. And so I'm able to guide them through that too, okay. And have you done anything already? Why is it entrepreneurship? What ideas and such. So, and I have them talk with entrepreneurs and I can help them figure out, okay, well, what kind of entrepreneurs, what do you want to do as an entrepreneur? In fact, I was with a young lady a couple of years ago. I was working with a young lady and she said, well, I want to be a baker. I said, do you want to be a baker or do you want to own a bake shop? She said, I want to own a bake shop. I was like, that's two totally different things.
Exactly. So, yeah. Right. You're not the one getting up at 3:00 in the morning making the donuts.
Exactly. Exactly. Or starting off, you are, Well, and then my next question is, have you ever worked at a bakery? No. Okay. Well, let's start there.
So
in regards to that.
Okay. I get it. So, I mean, you've got to keep drilling and asking the questions, getting more and more specific. So is
Yeah.
that your second tip, or do you have a different tip?
I would say then start looking at careers. Tip number 2 is start identifying, based on what you said, what are some careers that might be of interest to you based on this. And if they are like, well, I have no idea, that's where I say take a good career assessment. Because that really narrows down your choices pretty darn quickly, to help you go weed out from, let me try this, let me try that, let me, that type of thing. The other thing, and when you look at careers, so as you identify possible careers, the next step, the tip I have for you, is look at what's the job outlook, salary, and education needed for that career. Because you may say you want to do this, but you find out the job outlook is actually declining, or maybe where you want to live, the job outlook's not so good, but somewhere else is much higher. Anyone is interested? I worked with a young lady, and she decided she wanted to pursue art therapy. And she lived in Maine. But when we talked about envisioning her future, she said, well, I want to stay in Maine. Well, believe it or not, the job outlook in Maine for an art therapist was not that great. But the next state over, I can't remember which one, it was like significantly higher. And like, who knew if you didn't do that research? And so I said, okay, you might have to move to this state. Are you okay with that? So it's those decision points. Also, knowing the education it requires, is important. I've known many parents who've said to me, our kid thought we thought for sure they knew what they wanted to do. They went to college for it. They went to go get the job. And then they found out, oh, no, you need your master's or doctorate for that job. And they're like, no, I'm done. I worked hard. So they're in this whole, yes, they have a college degree, but, what's it going to, it's not going to what they thought it was going to go to. And just, again, doing that little bit of research is going to help avoid big mistakes along the way in regards to that.
Excellent advice, I would think. And we've got a few more tips. We're not even done with Laurie Genevish, right? Founder of My Ideal College. What else you got for us, Laurie?
The other tip I have is once you start looking at what jobs you want, start doing what I call informational interviews. So I'm sure you both know what I mean by that, but they could be 20-minute conversations, or which could be lead into what field, job shadowing or internships, right? Like how great, it could lead to that. And our, the age group that's coming up now is so used to just on their phone talking, and it's like, no, you need to talk to us. I think that was another stat that kids are graduating college in these businesses, and they're like, these kids do not know how to communicate. So it's really going to be beneficial for your teen to really learn how to have conversations with other people. And if they're shy, I was the shyest kid in the world. They can learn. They can get out of their comfort zone. I mean, a lot of people, and I tend to agree. Like if you're like, actually, I took oh my gosh, like presentation skills in high school. So glad I did. It should be a requirement. I think in high schools to help teens.
I think so. And as much as there's all these automated solutions now, you can input a few things into your Gen AI and it'll give you the slide outline, and you can feed the slide outline into these graphics design tools, and you get something that looks pretty good, but I don't know how much they're learning. And that's part of the problem, that you can just use AI to barf all kinds of things up. But did you learn from it? Right. That's
exactly. And if your teen is shy, I mean, you can start with day of the life videos on YouTube, and that just gives you one perspective, and well, that's the other thing too. When I work with my teens, I'm like, you want to talk to more than one person because every person's path is unique. And also, the way they view their job may be different. You may be talking to someone who actually really doesn't like their career, which you could learn about a lot from why they don't like it. So every time a teen has a conversation with someone, the last question should always be, and who else do you know I should talk to? Because that sets up the cycle for them for that. So in regards to that. Let's see. I'm pulling up, making sure I talk all my notes here. Then the thing is, and this really isn't a tip per se, but as parents, I think we need to be open to what is right for our teen versus forcing something into them. I've worked with plenty of kids who changed their major so much and or changed colleges so much that the parents were like, oh, we got to stop, and they have this sort of resignation. Well, I guess it's just not right for them. It's like, it's okay that it's not right for them. I mean, we need to change, and I think it is changing, that trade jobs, like, you can make a lot of money.
Oh yeah.
You can make a lot of money. And, with these corporate jobs, nothing's guaranteed anymore either. You hear about layoffs. So the world of work is completely changing. Now, is trades right for everyone? No, not necessarily. But in a lot of ways, these trade jobs are ones that, not least affected by AI,
That's right, because they don't have the AI bots capable of unclogging toilets yet.
Exactly. Right? And we will pay a lot of money to get our air conditioning fixed in a dead heat of summer, or, get our heat turned on in a dead cold winter. So
bingo. That's exactly it. So, Laurie, bring us home. What's your last tip that you'd like to offer here for folks to help them get their teens on the path?
Start early. Start even as early as freshman year. Start having conversations. Because you do a little bit throughout the 4 years, then it's not this panic. You are able to plan easier. You also might, you will also potentially miss out on some scholarships if you wait till. I've heard, parents go, they heard about a scholarship the day after the application, oh, if I just known, right? And so, again, parents, it's nothing like when we went to school. And if you can plan it out so you can make the high school years fun and enjoyable and as less stress as possible, you're going to save a lot of money and time in the end.
That's wonderful advice. Starting early is absolutely a must. The career exploration is not something that happens in a day or two. And just because, there's so much evidence about the changing of majors. Yeah. Why is that? Well, because they didn't start early. They didn't do the due diligence that are needed. There's no even due diligence in courses, in classes, for them to know and understand what's due diligence for me to know what my major is and or what career goals that I have. So that whole career exploration piece takes time, it takes effort, it takes energy, it takes enthusiasm, and it's planting those seeds early. And just like you said, the teens are on their phones all the time. That's not going to help them in career searches. That's not going to help them in interviews. It's not going to help them in so many different ways. So what is it to do? You've got to now create something entertaining and interesting for them to meet interesting, intriguing people who love their job, who hate their job. Let them meet all the above so that they have choices. Because parents, you are generally not experts in all careers. Most of us aren't. And so it's who you know who's going to help your child. And so this is really important advice that Laurie has shared with us. starting early, getting them to work and talk to adults, introductions, introduce the informational interviews, really smart. And kids, adults have zero expectations of you. You just have to show up. And you may think that's hard.
It is based on the number of ghostings and this and that. Oh, I was late. Oh, I forgot. Oh, it was yesterday. Oh, showing up, right, gets you pretty far ahead of the game compared to your competitors.
It's almost not scary how little you need to do to impress someone now, right? Show up, be respectful, and send a thank you note afterwards. And boy, you'll go from here to here.
Right. It can be done. You can do it. Right? And if you're stuck, ping us at Helpopedia. We've got all kinds of great people like Laurie Genevish and others who can help you get on the path so you can find success at school, at work, and in life. So with that, we've got a wrap here. Again, Laurie Genevish, founder of My Ideal College, my co-host, Phil Vitrano, co-founder of Helpopedia, and me, Laura Lynn, founder of Steeris and co-founder of Helpopedia. It's all about finding ways to be able to support our teens and position you for success so you can navigate all that uncertainty and chaos out there. And if you'd like to be a guest on our show, you can DM us, hello@helpopedia.org. That's a wrap. Thanks, everyone.